Greetings, I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer from No Longer Quivering. Today we're going to talk about Michael Pearl. If you bothered to read NLQ this morning, you'll see that Michael Pearl had the most convoluted piece where he outlined what he thinks non-Christians pretending to be Christians are like. He never once explained what a Christian actually is. He just threw shade at people that say they're Christians and act like Christians, and then he threw shade at people like him that say they're Christians and don't act anything like Christians. And then he threw the whole death threat from Jesus thing that I just do not like at all. If heaven is full of jerks like him, who wants to go? I would rather keep decorating my handbasket and go to the other place than spend eternity with a Michael Pearl. But here's the interesting thing to me about Pearl's writings. I think we're looking at some post-stroke dementia or something, because this piece didn't even make a whole lot of sense. He not as word salady as Doug Wilson, but there are definitely some issues there that just made me wonder what's going on with him. I don't think he ever fully recovered from his stroke, no matter what anybody at his ministry tries to say. I think we're seeing the last gasps of a guy who's having all kinds of issues going on. Be interesting to see if nothing else. If nothing else, the ups and downs of the stupid magazine have told me a lot about what's going on with him. I also want to talk about Jill Rodrigues, our favorite super crazy. I don't want to know about COVID-19. Stop that. Stupid, craziest, quiverful mama in Ohio. If you've been watching any of the things on her at all, you know that her oldest daughter, and I can't even pronounce her name right because I thought it was Nurie, like Marie. Nurie, I don't know. I heard Jill pronounce it recently. I was very confused because the way it's spelled, it doesn't sound anything like the way Jill is pronouncing it. Anyway, Nurie's wedding is upcoming. She's marrying Nathan Keller, who happens to be Anna Duggar's younger brother. And first, the wedding was supposed to take place in Ohio, but I hear now that it is Florida. Who knows at this point? But what's really interesting is Jill put up a graphic with the TLC logo on it 2 or 3 weeks ago. We all laughed and said, oh yeah, she wishes she had TLC filming it. Now I'm not 100% sure. Several of the Plath males had confirmed that there is second season and that there is filming starting right now. Mix that with the fact that Jill, who has never gone without documenting anything, even a trip to Aldi's, is now radio silent. I mean, nothing. I understand she's busy with the wedding, but this is really odd. Normally, Jill shares everything. So I'm wondering if TLC has got her shut up, locked down, and they're going to film something for either the Duggar show or the Plath show, or God forbid, a special on the Rodrigues Keller wedding, which would be really interesting. I'm looking for Jill to do a lot of embarrassing things during this, because we know how she is. Looking for her to make out with David at least once. I'm looking for her to have some kind of silly thing going on with some song she possibly has written about the glories of marriage and love. I'm looking for her to cry, and I'm looking for her to announce her pregnancy. I just have a weird feeling we're about to see a level of narcissistic behavior out of a quiverful mama that we have never seen before. It's going to be epic, even if it's not being filmed by TLC. We know she's going to share. We know we're all going to laugh when we're not feeling sorry for the poor daughter. Well, at least now the daughter will get to eat, because I don't think the Kellers look like they're starving themselves. So I'm thinking that for the first time, that girl may actually have access to real food, and that's only a good thing. I wish the newlyweds the best. I hope everything goes well. I hope they wasn't Jill to make her behave. Maybe TLC can do that. I don't know. Anyway, the last thing we have to talk about today is Steven Anderson. Now, that is a situation that is getting wilder all the time. I've spoken to some people about it. I've had a lot of people contacting me. I've been given new screen caps every time you turn around. Obviously, something bad has happened, and it does involve the three oldest Anderson sons, one of whom is an adult. There are several adult males that are involved in this grooming. I've seen a lot of the chat. They're the kind of inane teenage conversations that everybody has when they're trying to figure out their sexuality. But at the same time, it goes to some really strange places, like choking women, like murder, like killing the baby instead of having an abortion, waiting for the baby to be born and killing the baby. Just some really strange things. There's photos from some party that involve drinking and teenagers, which is pretty normal teenage behavior from what I've seen out in the world, much less in this isolated cult, where Zsuzsanna and her husband try to proclaim that their way isolates the children to the point where these things don't happen. Well, it's clearly not true. I mean, that's what's coming out now. What's interesting about it is there are some in the IFB that are starting to write about this situation. And they're experiencing what we at NLQ have experienced for years every time that I write about Steven Anderson. His own personal flying monkey squad that comes out and defends everything he does, no matter how disgraceful or disgusting. They immediately support him. They say nasty things to anybody, stuff you wouldn't expect to fly out of the mouth of a Christian. They are the reason that I have Jerks for Jesus now. I just got tired of the constant battle with these people showing up and saying F you for Jesus. Well, that's not flying here. I'm not putting up with that nonsense. I hope and I pray that CPS gets wind of this and they take a real legitimate investigation and that the victims actually get some counseling. They're going to need it if they've been sexually abused by these kids, the girls, because it looks like most of the girls that are connected to this are in the 13 to 14-year-old range. Now, I've reached out to a lot of followers of Stephen's ministry, including some that have fallen out with him over this, and very few of them are willing to talk officially. But there are always those on the sidelines that are very eager to tell us what's going on. It's really bad. Stephen's covering it up. He's trying to cover for his kids. Keep in mind that Zsuzsanna once said about Josh Duggar, when his troubles came out, that there should be no forgiveness, that Josh needed to be put to death, that all perverts need to be put to death. Somehow I doubt she's speaking about her own sons. I think she's probably putting them as an exception. Oh, Lord, it's raining here hard again, so I don't know I'm going to have internet very long. So here's the thing. Zsuzsanna is apparently pressuring a lot of the people involved in some pretty bizarre ways, including outing various people with photos and things. So it looks to me like Zsuzsanna and Steven have taken actual criminal activity trying to cover this up instead of doing what they're supposed to do. Steven is a minister. Arizona law says that ministers are mandatory reporters of abuse of minors. He's violating that law. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Will anything happen? Will anyone report them? I can't report them since I'm outside of the United States now. But somebody else could easily enough. It needs to happen. Those poor girls deserve more than being treated as victims and having their entire families kicked out of that church and being lied about. Steven Anderson, if you're watching, I hope they investigate you. Y'all have a good Saturday. I'm going to go. You already saw my lights flicker. This is Costa Rica, baby. It's wonderful until it rains, and then you may not have internet. You may not have electricity. We don't have anything for a while. We didn't have water this morning. I still don't understand that. Oh, well. Y'all have a great Saturday.